Everyone. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
18.
Do you support Trump?
So I would vote for him if the election came by, but I wouldn't say I support him. So
Okay, alrighty. Okay. Why would you vote for him in that context?
I don't agree with abortion, and I so that's probably the biggest thing.
Okay, so you want to save human lives?
Okay, you got to get me somewhere, but sure, yes, yeah, of course I do.
Okay. How do you feel about the fact that the Republicans have cut U.S. aid, which will lead to 14 million people dying by 2030? Where if it was maintained to the same degree as what existed prior, those 14 million people's lives would have prevented from dying.
Well, you said U.S. aid. What is
Yes.
that?
Funding that we provided in cost-effective manners to reduce the likelihood of easily preventable death around the world.
I think that's pretty crappy of us to do. I mean, but I still think, I don't know. I don't think abortion's right.
But like if your goal is to save human lives, it seem like you're saving more human lives by defending things like U.S. aid, access to healthcare, food access in this country, along with plenty of other things comparative to what they're doing right now. I mean, you'd be significantly more likely to reduce abortions by trying to prevent people from getting into situations where they have unwanted pregnancy rather than actually like limiting abortion in the first place. Donald Trump's
I
abortion
guess.
policy actually hasn't led to a reduction in overall amount of abortions. We've seen an increase in the amount of abortions since Roe versus Wade is overturned.
I guess, but U.S. aid is for like I'm trying to protect babies. These are people like that are full grown like adults and stuff.
So you only care about
As
protecting
USA,
babies?
no, I care about protecting everybody, but I'm saying babies can't defend themselves. They can't go provide for themselves. They can't do like all the stuff that adults should be able to do.
It's still like whether or not someone's going to live or die.
Yeah, and I get that, but I'd still want. I think if I had to pick between the two, I'd rather protect babies.
Yeah, but like you're not actually protecting the babies. Infant mortality and maternal mortality have gone up since the overturning of Roe versus Wade.
Has it?
Yes.
Okay, well, I didn't know that, but if I'd rather a president that like doesn't agree with abortion than someone that does.
You mean agree with legal access, or you mean you can disagree with it but think there should be legal access?
I don't think there should be legal access.
Okay. In any situation?
I talked to my dad about this, and what he said made sense, but you're probably going to debunk it. So yes, I think in any circumstance, yes,
Including like death of the pregnant individual?
I would say so. Yes,
So you think
because
someone should
hold
have
on.
to die? What? Okay, so for example,
Let
let's
me.
say both the pregnant person and the offspring will die. Do you think they should be forced to go through the pregnancy?
Well, let me ask you a question real quick. Hold on. Hold on.
Can
Hold
I
on.
have a
Let me say
response to that
something.
first?
Well, hold on. I don't know. Just let me ask a question. I get it's kind of just let me ask you a question. If somebody, I don't know what I can say on TikTok. If someone grabs a sharp object and pokes you very hard in the chest with it, what do you do? What would you do if someone like you saw that? Would you? Well, doctors would take the knife out and would try to heal the person, which would this would be the same thing with pregnancy. Go through with the pregnancy, with whether it's a C-section or an induced labor. I mean, is it? And are you saying like any circumstance, no matter what you do, a C-section or whatever, you're gonna die?
I'm saying the circumstance is true that if you don't get an abortion, that you will die. Both the fetus and the pregnant individual will die in that scenario. Do you
So
think
no
they should be
matter
able to
what,
get
whether
access to an abortion?
C-section or no. Well, if no matter what, like C-section, if like even a C-section won't work or anything like that, well then yes, I think they should be able to. But if a C-section is going to work, then of course I don't
Okay.
think so.
So you think that a pregnant individual should be obligated to give up their life for the baby? Under
Well, I
your
said
term?
if they, no, I said if the C-section's available, then yeah, they should do that.
Well, that would be an induction of labor after viability.
If they're not going to die from a C-section or something, then yeah. But if they're going to die, then no, like absolutely no matter
you
what.
think that someone should be forced to go through the context of a pregnancy, even if they're going to die, is crazy. Watch this. Do you think a 10-year-old should be forced to go through a pregnancy? If they were assaulted? Obviously, we're talking about a 10-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah? You think they should be forced to go through it?
So I originally, I talked, like I said, I talked about this with my dad. I originally had said no, but what he said made sense. So I guess I would have to say yes.
What did he say that made it make sense that a 10-year-old would be
He's
forced
better
to go
at
through
speaking than I am, but he basically said like that you can, like my dad's like MAG and everything. But he basically said that you can explain later to the kid, but that doesn't mean that, like, who should you blame? Who should you blame? The rapist? Yes, you shouldn't blame a baby or the child. They're not at fault, but the rapist should be held accountable. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah, but you understand that they have no obligation to maintain a pregnancy, right? They didn't cause the pregnancy. They have no obligation to maintain it.
No, but the baby didn't do anything either.
Okay, but like that doesn't mean anything. They should still be able to get access to an abortion because one, they never caused the pregnancy. Two, because this would be a situation where they're non-sentient. So why the hell would you care more about the non-sentient embryo than you would about the literal sentient child that is you're now saying should be forced to go through a pregnancy at fucking 10 years old?
Is the child gonna die?
Regardless, in the scenario, you think that if they die, they should still have to go through it because you didn't.
I don't think if they're gonna die, no. I said
if
that.
they're gonna die, but the baby will survive, would you be okay with forcing them to go through that?
No.
No, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
So
no.
Now you're saying that kids should be able to get access to an abortion. There should be legal access to an abortion for kids.
In circumstances.
Like which ones?
Like if they were gonna die, if they had to give birth to the baby.
Okay, so if they're not going to die, would you force a 10-year-old to go through it?
I mean, I would have to say yes because I don't think a baby should die. I don't think
it's a baby in those situations. I think it's a non-sentient embryo. So you're prioritizing the idea of a non-sentient embryo over the life of the literal child that's going to be forced to go through the pregnancy.
Point,
just because they don't die means that they should be forced to go through is crazy because they could have issues in terms of medical health. They could have issues in terms of psychological health, issues in terms of their literal development as a child, right?
Yeah. At what point does it become have human rights? Would you say?
The point of sentience.
Which is?
20 through 24 weeks in the womb.
Mm-hmm. So what takes away human, just because it doesn't, so a heartbeat doesn't matter?
No.
Brainwaves don't matter. None of that matters.
It's going to be the prefrontal cortex, thalamocortical connections, and the development of a subjective experience.
Can you give me your definition of sentience, please?
Yeah, it's just going to be like a first-person subjective experience.
Mm-hmm. So, just because it doesn't have sentience, it doesn't have any human rights or any value.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that it has the value of a person.
I would definitely say that it has the same rights as any other person should have, I think.
Okay, let's suppose a scenario. Watch. Let's suppose a scenario. You're in a burning building. You can either save 1,000 zygotes or one newborn baby. Which would you rather save?
Well, I would say the newborn baby, and then you're gonna.
But you don't consider 1,000 zygotes to each be an individual person, so you'd rather save one person over 1,000 people?
No, because it's not actually in a womb. If you say there's a pregnant mother,
life begins at conception, right?